Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Where everybody at? Full house. Well, almost a full. God bless you, Erica, wherever you are.
Yeah.
I know she's doing well though.
All right, welcome to Origins Illustrated, part of the Geekish Network. This is your weekly comic live stream podcast discussing everything connected to comic books. And I am Courtney. I'm Courtney Wright. I'm an actor and a writer. And I would like to introduce you to my fabulous co-hosts. I will take it away, Clarama.
Hi, I'm Clarama. I'm a product manager at Oculus, and I love VR, develop for VR, and really excited and a nerd for comics and superheroes and all of that. I'll toss it to Jennifer.
What's up, beautiful people? I'm Jennifer. I am a singer, actress, voiceover artist. I love comics too. I don't have as much time to read as much as these beautiful ladies here, but I love to just discuss all things heroes and villains and all that fun. So yeah. All right, Catherine, catch the ball. Here you go.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Catherine. I'm an AR/VR designer based in Memphis, Tennessee. Currently working on a cross-platforming VR co-op game called Mend, which will release fairly soon. Anyway, yeah, I love comics, Batman, everything like entertainments and creatures and lore.
Right on. I think we are all here because we are all true geek chic comic book gals that are just here to talk about all the stuff that we love. So why don't you lead us into some comic book news, Miss Catherine?
All right. Wesley Snipes has not joined John Wick 4 despite rumors. Also, there's rumors stated that Wesley Snipes will be a part of the next John Wick film. It has been confirmed that the Blade actor is no longer involved. And a tweet from Force Kit of Hollywood Reporter addressed that, saying that despite some rumors, action star Wesley Snipes will not be going to John 4. He added there was some discussions a little while ago, but it didn't work out, which explained why the rumors got started. And Snipes is best known, of course, for Blade from the 1990s. He played the half vampire warrior, Daywalker. And while Snipes fans may have been disappointed to learn that he won't be showing up as the new ally for the enemy John Wick, the cast for the film is already loaded and returning with new actors, including the return of Lawrence Fishburne as the Barley King, and it'll be directed by Chad Stilezeski. John Wick Chapter 4 stars Keanu Reeves, Shamir Anderson, Rihanna, Donnie, Lauren Fishburne, and the film arrives in theaters May 27th, 2022.
All right. Yeah, I'm okay with I don't really think that they necessarily need Wesley Snipes. I would like to see him in Blade. I hope they make that happen, to have him kind of pass the torch to Mahershala.
Yeah.
But I'm not sad about him not being in John Wick. John Wick has enough. They probably can't have two black men in the same movie.
Yeah, it was fun seeing Halle Berry in the last one. Maybe they're trying to capture a more diverse market or something. With that thought. I think it would be cool. It would make me want to watch John Wick 4. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great. I think it's fun, guilty pleasure fun. But yeah, I didn't know he was good. They were talking about him potentially being in it. I'm a little bit oh, that sucks he's not kind of being it, but it's not that big deal. Yeah.
Same.
Consider John Wick kind of Hallmark action films, but they're fun action flicks. But yeah, no, it's I'm curious to see how it goes down in the new film. So
I just want to see how crazy it's gonna get, because it gets crazy.
Yeah. Always. I love what they do. It's a brand new take on stereotypical character, which is the assassin. So they found a new way to make it interesting, to revive that old trope, and of course, Keanu Reeves, everybody I just love him. I love him so much. And the fact that the first movie started because somebody killed his dog is absolutely brilliant.
It is.
And I'm it's just brilliant. It turned out to be deeper, but I'm here for it.
That is hilarious. I actually never knew that. I watched only John Wick 3, probably because of Halle Berry. Yeah, I haven't seen the first two, but it's usually because it's usually behind a paywall, like on Amazon or something. So that's why. And I missed it the couple times it was on HBO. But yeah.
Oh, girl.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah, do it. Watch it.
Your heart though when that happens.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's rude.
I do the same thing. Come after my pets and see what happens.
Yeah. And they finally gave us a story like that on the big screen, which I think a lot of people can relate to. You don't see that often, although it's hard to watch that kind of stuff too. So I can see. Yeah. All right. Well, on another news, new Miss Marvel series to explore the source of Kamala Khan's power. So the new Miss Marvel Beyond the Limit will see writer Samir Ahmed and artist Andres Genelet. Sorry, that's wrong. Question the source of Kamala Khan's powers. Kamala Khan is going on a new adventure and it hits shelves this September. So this is going to be from writer Samir Ahmed and artist, as I mentioned, Andres, who will follow the titular hero after an interdimensional explosion at her cousin's lab in Chicago turns her world upside down and into a Bollywood set. The explosion also messes up the hero's powers, and she is up against the clock to figure out what exactly is going on. Quote, fans that have been there from day one will love to see how we're playing around with her powers, exploring them, and maybe pushing them, Ahmed teases. I don't want to give any spoilers, but there are going to be some questions that arise about the source of her powers and what that means. So as the first South Asian writer for Miss Marvel, Ahmed plans to incorporate elements from Kamala's Pakistani heritage that have not been seen before in comics, which is going to be surprising. I'm going to see it because there's a lot in the first comic. So I'm curious to see how far they take that. Another quote she gives is, we're definitely going to have some food in there. We're definitely going to have some pretty striking South Asian cultural elements that people are going to see right off the bat in the series. There are going to be some familiar faces and fan favorites, but also some new faces. So I think something that's really interesting about this is, she's the writer for Kamala Khan's character, who is Pakistani. The previous writers for this comic, the one who brought it out, was I think Egyptian, and along with another writer who was also like a mix of Lebanese, Egyptians, and a couple of other things, but both of them not Pakistani. And so this is the first South Asian writer for this for the comic, and she's Indian from what I saw. So I think that's really interesting that she's adding those Bollywood elements, and obviously Pakistan and India being a lot closer, probably culturally than most, despite the rough history there. I think is a really interesting approach. I'd love to see how she writes around that.
Awesome.
Okay.
I need to hear more.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm curious if there's is there gonna be like a song happening?
Hopefully, you always I love that there's a lab explosion. It's like throwback to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that too. There's always some sort of explosion that throws something into out of whack. You got Spider-Man, you got the Flash. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden a lab exploded. So radioactive spider bites you in a lab. So.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how they're going to do Bollywood and comic strip too. Like I feel like there's so much in such a flat 2D limited visual. Like I'm so curious how that's going to work.
That'll be fun. I'm curious, if the upcoming I think film will even reference like some of this new comic too. But I don't know, it'd be cool.
Would be cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Shall we move on?
Yes.
All right. So I have something that's just fun news. Did you know that Dwayne Johnson was named the number one reason to love America? Aww. I mean, I think we all knew that. It's
not the only. Barack Obama second. Hard second.
True. This year, Dwayne Johnson topped People's 100 Reasons to Love America list. It says here that the Jumanji and Moana star recently claimed the top spot on People's 100 Reasons to Love America list, which also includes COVID-19 vaccines, woo woo, poet Amanda Gorman, who I just adore, Dolly Parton, because she's just a sweetheart, and the debut of the first gay Captain America.
What? I missed that one.
I know. That's amazing, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
You guys tell me. You know more than I do. I do want to read his tweet really quick because I thought it was really, really sweet. It says, "Thank you. It's very humbling to grace the cover of People as the number one reason to love America." Mm-hmm. He says he realizes that the things that matter most in life are the things that are right in front of us: family, friends, mana. Happy Father's Day. Enjoy the read. I just thought that was beautiful. I mean, for such a star, he really does seem super down to earth, and that's always encouraging because I think at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
having your morals right in front of you.
About that, watched his show?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Have you watched his The Young Rock show? It's really heartwarming. I don't know. I guess an interesting backstory to his family life, and so I don't know.
No, I haven't watched it. My favorite story about The Rock is the story when he was filming. I think it was Red Notice in Atlanta, which is not out yet. I think they're coming out with that probably at the end of this year. And something happened to his gate at the house he was staying at in Atlanta, and he couldn't get out of the gate in order to get. And they were waiting for him on set. And he was freaking out. So he literally ripped the gate out of the ground. He ripped the gate out. There are pictures. What he did to this gate that he could get out. He was like, people are waiting on me. And he went full Hulk on this gate. In order to make it to set. I think he was 30 minutes late or something like that. But that is my favorite. So that is the best story ever.
That's the charm of The Rock.
It is. And I hope afterwards he went, "Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?"
It was a big iron gate, y'all. Absurd.
There needs to be references to that in the next Black Adam film. Or in the Black Adam films.
I hope so. I really hope so. I need him to reenact that.
Yeah. One Fender, yeah, definitely. What is that? What's the other saying he has? Candy ass. I'm gonna kick your candy ass. Something. I don't know. I forgot. He had some few really.
How about this? What's your name? It doesn't matter what your name is. Can you tell me? I used to watch when he was actually wrestling, and he was
I watched him too.
Yeah. Oh man.
We all watched. He was on. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
My favorite is this.
I don't know.
The one eyebrow.
The people's eyebrow.
People's eyebrow. Exactly.
Oh,
we got Captain America. Chris Evans is America's ass, and the Rock is the people's eyebrow.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
America's
favorite, indeed.
Yes, sir.
Just need a rock apple pie. So.
With his face and his eyebrow just in the pie.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's amazing watching his story and his whole journey. Imagine that, and then going from that to this 20 years later. That's an amazing arc.
And he's let's just be honest, he's grown so much as an actor. I mean, remember him in Scorpion King?
Yeah, he didn't say anything.
It was mostly CGI.
It
wasn't really him.
Right?
Oh goodness! There was a part where it was him, and I was like, "Oh,
really?"
Let's go back to the thing. But
go back to the CG.
But he,
yeah, he was still figuring it out. Yeah,
now he's grown so much. I mean, as Maui. I mean, I just love him as Maui. Oh, so great. The hair.
Oh my goodness.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Okay. All right, Courtney, what you got for us, girl?
I mean, speaking of all this love, since we're giving all this love around to The Rock, let's pass a little bit of that love over to Batman.
Hey.
Okay.
Where is it though? Where is it though?
Where is it going? Let's talk about where that love is going. Where it's going. There is a Batman petition demands for DC to let the bat eat the cat.
Ooh,
here we are.
Hey.
For those of you who are unfamiliar, there was a story reported recently that the writer or the showrunner of Harley Quinn, the DC series on HBO Max, they were saying that they had a scene written for Batman to spend some time, quality time between Catwoman's legs. Mm-hmm. And HBO was like, no, you can't do that. Or DC was like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. And they're like, what do you mean you can't have that scene in there? Because Batman can't go down on Catwoman. We can't sell toys if Batman like eats Catwoman. Like
heroes can't go down.
Heroes.
That was the exact
heroes. Yes, that was the exact right.
To me, that was the definition
can't go down. Yes.
Hero doesn't do that. What do you do?
Exactly. The definition of a hero is in dollars. And let's see. So a fan, which I am so happy for this because this was my first thought. If I knew how to use change.org, I would have done it. And I'm concerned I could have figured it out. I should have. But anyways, thankfully a fan took care of it. Yeah, I get the next one.
That's right.
A fan took care of it. A fan has started a petition on change.org asking DC to reverse its position on allowing the Harley Quinn TV series to depict Batman performing a sex act, an oral sex act, on Catwoman in the upcoming third season of the animated HBO Max show. The petition is titled, "Let the Bat Eat the Cat," and has only garnered 13 signatures. I'm about to be 14 by Thursday afternoon since it was launched late Wednesday night. The petition is a reference to Harley Quinn showrunner Justin Halpern, revealing that there was a scene cut from the show's third season where Batman was performing this special act on Catwoman. He said it's incredibly gratifying and free to be using characters that are considered villains because you just have so much more leeway. Perfect example of that is in this third season, Harley, when we had a moment where Batman was going down on Catwoman, DC was like, you can't do that. You absolutely cannot do that. They're like, heroes don't do that. So we said, are you saying heroes are just selfish lovers? They were like, no, it's that we sell consumer toys for heroes. It's hard to sell a toy if Batman is also going down on someone. And I ask you, why? Why is that?
Also, what kids are watching on HBO? Come on, like that. We gotta have a chat about parents if that's gonna be the case, and then you need to have like the extended chat about why it's okay, because it is okay. But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, of all the things that like Batman has done, he said, "I'm gonna kill the Joker." I mean, he's had sex with Batgirl and the Killing Joke,
and left her on the roof.
I know.
Yeah. It's just like. What all of a sudden him going down and someone's like, oh no, we can't sell this to kids, but like it's an adult show too. It's just like
with the amount of like violence and what's wrong with showing love.
Yeah. Has anybody watched the Harley Quinn series?
Oh yeah.
I've watched the first 2 seasons. And
she had to back up, ladies. She had to back up.
It's very hard R, very adult. It's fun. It's just like, that's not that's not a show that kids are just gonna be like, oh, I can't wait to see this.
I mean, half of the Batman stuff out there, kids aren't really supposed to watch because of how quote unquote violent it is and like how graphic it is with the storytelling and all of that stuff, you know? Like, I think the toys that they're selling are mainly for the Lego Batman series. Let's be honest, you know?
Yeah. The Killing Joke, they let Batgirl go down, ride on Batman. Mm-hmm. So that to me is like, was Batgirl not a hero? Like, I guess they didn't plan to sell her toys, so maybe that's why it didn't matter. I don't know. So he could be ridden. That's just so
exactly.
And it was kind of like a violent, like little, like I hate you. You know what I'm saying? Like
S&M, yes.
Yeah,
almost abusive. Yes.
There was a whole scene when Harley Quinn, she basically raped Nightwing.
Yeah,
She handcuffed him to the bed, and he was like to Batman, like, help me. I mean, he wasn't really upset about it, but he was just like, he felt bad about himself. Like, I can't believe I enjoyed that. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, in the same series, Dr. Psycho used to literally crawl into Giant Woman. And Dr. Psycho is like this big, you know what I mean? So he spent quality time up inside Giant Woman. So now you have a problem because it's Batman. Why are these kids up watching this show? And if it's about the parents, if y'all are going to be upset of something you see on an adult show and you literally in Walmart looking at your kid like you can't have that because Batman ate the cat. I mean, they're going to be like, what do you mean, Dad? Why can't I understand? Like, what does that mean?
It basically makes
the whole cat.
Yeah, it basically makes no sense. To me, that's a BS thing. It's somebody's ego got threatened, or male ego got threatened, who's attached to Batman and hates women, and was like, use their power.
Yeah. Or they're
in the wrong
listening
way.
to DJ Khaled. So now Batman's like DJ Khaled, where he just doesn't go down on things. But
Yeah.
It's wrong, men, which is wrong.
It's
And
wrong, exactly.
It's wrong.
Mhm.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
And
well,
that
I feel
goes
like
to show you, no woman was in that writing room or in a power position at DC, because
yeah.
Mhm.
But the beauty of this stuff too is that when this happens and this becomes publicly aware, you get things like people fanfare. Like now you're gonna see Batman eating Catwoman everywhere. There's probably gonna be t-shirts and merchandise. Like this is gonna be a big thing. It's just like actually backfired to like give birth to this concept in a way that they cannot. It's just gonna, like in a way, like if they had just let it happen, nobody would have cared.
You know who
Nothing?
to bring this attention to is John Oliver, because that man loves this stuff.
and Trevor Noah.
Yes, we need to tweet it to them and be like, hey, come on, like
Let's have a conversation.
Yeah,
Oh,
let's
it's
put this on your show.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be in the next one. I'm gonna keep a lookout now.
Exactly.
Like hashtag let the bat eat the cat.
Like the whole website, yeah. He's gonna encourage the whole world to like draw the comic strip and like and he'll, like create books for it or something like that. I don't know. That'd be funny.
Man, I can see those t-shirts now. They're gonna be so inappropriate, just so inappropriate.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
They forced our hand. They
really
forced
did. Because
Like-
nobody would have cared. Like literally nobody would have cared until now. It's actually a thing. So now everybody has a comment. Everybody has something to say.
And I think when
And
you
Batman looks like a
like,
jerk.
yeah, and then when you think of like HBO, that's kind of like you just assume there's gonna be sexual stuff on there. You're not like, oh, it was on HBO.
I mean, they have a subsidiary, Cinemax, which is called Skinemax.
Yes.
Cinemax. Come on, man.
Have
Come
you
on.
seen Spartacus?
Exactly. Girl, preach. Get on in there. Like,
I mean, even Harley went down on like Poison Ivy. That was alluded to in the show where she has a twig in her mouth after their sequence. So,
Oh wow.
yes.
Wow.
That's okay, apparently.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they let Harley. I'm pretty sure there was a scene. I correct me if I'm wrong, because Catherine, you watched it. There was a scene where Harley went down on Poison Ivy. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So
she
why
just
can't
said that.
Harley go down? But
Oh, that's what you
can't
said.
go down.
Yeah, that.
And then Harley Quinn came up with a twig on her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, that's what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah. Oh man.
I missed it. That's amazing. That's amazing.
I missed the twig part. I was like, what do you mean? Yep. We on the same page. Yep. We in the same tree.
I'm about to tweet about this.
Yeah.
I
No,
kind
this is
of keep
fun.
it kosher though right now, so you guys tweet it for me.
This is what I love about the new generation too, like the new people. Like I think 10 years ago, if this had been announced, nobody would have cared and probably been like, yeah, right call, or this probably didn't have been news. But I think now in this generation, like Gen Z and millennials, where we were a lot more like quote unquote woke, like this could like becomes a wildfire thing where we want to rebel against these like traditional challenge, like status quo. More women are empowered, maybe not in that office yet, but in the public atmosphere, in the media, and we're all like for all seeing all these things. So I think something like that is what, like, it's just a combination of an old institution meeting the people now, and something like this just becomes a big deal thanks to social media, which kind of I think balances the power of these like institutions, or like challenges it. I don't know, it's becoming equal a little bit.
I think you're right. I think you're definitely onto something with that theory, because if you think about it, the fact that Justin Halpern, the showrunner, even released it, even set that tweet out, that is the evidence that your statement is correct. Because in the past, people would have been afraid to say anything. They would have just kept it quiet behind closed doors. This would have come out 10 years later. But now today, like, Justin was empowered enough to tweet this out there because he knew it was going to generate a response. So therefore, here we have all the backstory, the behind the scenes of what's happening at the DC table, and the conversations that are had by like 70 and 80-year-old men talking about, I'm trying to get paid for these toys.
They even have.
I think about that toy argument too, because I remember watching the Star Wars, the set number 7 with Rey being introduced, and I remember being so like geeked out about that movie. And I was in London, so I was walking on one of the stores that there was a toy store, and they had all the Star Wars toys, and I could not find a Rey action figure. I found I forget who, Finn, all the other like Darth Vader, every other character had an action figure, and I could not find a Rey action figure. And I was like, this is the weirdest thing ever, because she was clearly the star of this movie, and you would think they'd have at least one action figure in this whole store, but I couldn't find one. And I tweeted about it, and some people got defenses. No, look, here's one here on Amazon that I found by going 16 pages deep by putting and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the problem. She was the main person for this movie. You would think that all the toys would be centered around her, and it was she was nowhere to be found. And so I think in terms of like toys,
you think she was sold out because
Daisy
Ridley was British?
No. This was day one. The movie.
Oh, okay.
That I had watched the movie on opening night. And they had like all the stormtroopers out and everything like that. And then I went immediately to the store right after. All the toys were there. They had it like in the front, when they have like when they put all the biggest toys, they had like, it was like a big one, and they had all the Finns, I forgot who the other characters were.
Poe,
all of them.
Kylo Ren probably. They didn't make toys of Rey apparently.
They didn't. Not until later, because they didn't think. They did the same thing for Black Panther. They didn't make that much toys and merchandise. So there were actually Black people complaining that they wanted to buy Black Panther merchandise after the movie, but there wasn't much made. And so then they had to start like feverishly making Black Panther stuff.
Interesting. I think there wasn't also Black Widow when the Avengers, because I remember seeing Thor, I remember seeing Captain America. Obviously, there's the Hulk and Iron Man, but there really wasn't a whole lot of Black Widow.
I heard that about even Falcon Winter Soldier. Like, apparently it's hard to find the new Captain America Falcon toy. So it's like you have to go in the back to find it, or like something online.
It's like the little small tiny things with like all the 12 character sets. And then, like, you just want one, and
yeah. Well, that does not. It does and it does not surprise me.
Yeah.
But so I will wait. I'm sure we will all wait with bated breath to find out if they let the bat eat the cat.
So funny.
So let's move on to discuss, before we get into our major story, which we're going to get in and talk about Trese. Let's talk briefly about episode 2 of Loki. Anybody? Did anybody watch it?
I watched it. I enjoyed it. Like, I like the direction they're heading in, and there's like great dialogue between characters. And I don't know. I like this. I'm gonna call it kind of a weird Office Space as Loki. So, but it was fun.
Yeah, I liked it too. I'm not gonna say too much because I don't want to give it away for Clarama and Jennifer. But I think I agree with you, Catherine. There is great banter between Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston, Loki and Mobius. I think that they make this great kind of like Law and Order pair. They're going through and breaking down all these like the case and looking for clues and Loki basically being like the profiler, profiling himself, which is very cerebral.
Yeah.
So
I feel like, are they? I haven't watched the second episode yet, so I don't know how once they get into details, maybe it loses that theme. But rethinking the first episode, I was trying to figure out, why does it feel so familiar to me? Because I wasn't that to me, it wasn't like everyone's like, oh, they really liked it. I was like, to me, I feel like I've seen this before. And it basically is, I feel like the whole plot is Thor Ragnarok. No, like it's the same thing, like where he's like, okay, so when Thor gets kidnapped, he goes into this weird space where he has to meet, like he's like, imprisoned or whatever. And then he has to meet this goofy like grandmaster who then keeps him alive only for him to fight who he wants him to fight, like some bidding. I think Thor has to fight the Hulk or something, and then or do something like he wants him to keep him as his own like thing for his bidding. And I feel like the same thing, Loki is kind of in the same spot where he gets kidnapped into space, but that even that king at that point, you don't know if he's good or bad or like what he's at, but it's kind of like, so there's something sketchy happening there. And I feel like he had his, Thor's sidekick was, what's her name? The girl with the horse. from his hometown.
Oh,
Valkyrie, like they have that kind of like weird like buddy cop duo
Girl
too, a
with the
little
horse.
bit. Yeah. You know, and then like I feel like in Loki it's clear, at least from the end of the first episode, he has to fight himself. And I feel like in Thor he had to fight his best friend to get out or something, and like kind of has to make amends with him, but his friend doesn't remember him. And so he has to kind of help him get his memory back. Whereas like Loki is kind of going to be doing that. Loki is probably going to be doing the same thing for himself. Like he's meeting this dark version of himself, and he has to kind of maybe, I don't know, they're going in that arc where he has to befriend his arc or help his other person remember who he is. I don't know. Sorry. That's like conjecture.
No, they're not going down. I don't think they're going down that road, at least the memory aspect.
Yeah.
I can see the buddy cop element, you know, or the good cop, bad cop kind of situation. That is similar. That trope has carried over through like a lot of different
Captain America.
Exactly, you know, Falcon, Winter Soldier. I do think that there is a lot more levity and it's very Marvel-y, you know, in terms of the space that it's created. So I in terms of Ragnarok, I can see the correlation. Yeah. It's not necessarily, it's not really that. When you watch episode 2, you'll get more of where we're going. So I can't really say anything. Do you agree, Catherine? Like, I can't really say anything because I don't want to give away like the meat of the crux of the situation, if you will.
It gives you a better scope of, like what you said, where everything's going. So I definitely watched episode 2 and like compare. So
yeah. I gotta watch it again because I watched it at like 2:00 in the morning just because I was like, I couldn't sleep. And I was like, well, I can't really, I'm awake. So I guess may as well just watch Loki.
That's amazing.
But yeah, so in terms of where we're thoughts on what's gonna unfold in episode 3, Catherine?
I don't want to spoil anything, but
maybe I should just go on mute. Me and Jennifer can go on silent.
We're gonna take them off real quick.
Okay, I'm gonna silent. Okay. Give us a thumbs up when you guys are done.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Go ahead, Catherine.
Okay. I think we're gonna see more Lokis at the end of episode, or going forward. I think that was one of many Lokis.
I agree. I love the fact that they showed, like, there was a small clip. Did you see when they showed like 6 different Lokis on the screen? Yeah. That was super dope. I did a deep dive a little bit. Apparently there's a character there's speculation that either she's Lady Loki or there's a character called Enchantress who Loki created and trained in order to impersonate him. I'm briefly, because I guess in the credits she's labeled as Sylvie, and Sylvie Livingston is an actual character in Marvel that is connected to Loki. So
especially she doesn't like to be called Loki. So
exactly, yes. So I think that there's definitely something there. I don't think that Loki has necessarily turned his back on Mobius because he told him he wouldn't turn it. He told him he wouldn't, and Loki, even though he lies, he's generally pretty not trustworthy, but he's definitely does what he thinks is right.
Yeah, I also feel like he enjoys this job too much. Maybe ultimately he'll stay on the TVA. I don't know. It'd be cool to see kind of this Law and Order.
Because it's very much like his relationship with Thor. Mm-hmm. It's very much his relationship with his brother. So I think that it's kind of reminiscent. Mm-hmm. So I think he will definitely support. So
yeah. I'm excited. I'm really loving this show, and I'm liking this like different spin with like Marvel characters and just heroes in general. So
yeah. Okay. All right. Let's bring them back.
Hey, that was delightful. I agree with everything both of you said. It was
like all you needed music, right?
Please hold.
Is it like the TVA intro or that
exactly Miss Minute?
Miss Minute. We had that in my mind. That's funny.
Oh, all right. Who Jennifer, you want to lead us into Trese?
Oh, yes. All right. So if you don't know, here at the Geekish Network, we have been talking all things Trese, which is a Filipino anime based on a comic book that Netflix released recently. Let's see. Where should I say? Let me give you the show premise. How's that? So it's set in Manila, where Filipino folk mythical creatures live in hiding amongst humans. Alexandra Trese finds herself dealing with an underground criminal world controlled by evil supernatural beings. It was first announced in November 2018 with Jay Oliva, I'm sorry, as executive producer and director, with other directors including David Hartman, Mel Zwire, and Tim Divar. The series is written by Zig Marasigan, Ming Vergara, and Tanya Yuson, which I think is incredible. Yuson also serves as executive producer for Base Entertainment with Shanti Harmayan. I really should make sure I say these names right. I am so sorry, everyone.
We try. This should be the one show that probably gets it
yes.
right too.
Exactly. We try. We support you and we love you.
We love you.
Bear with us.
At the Netflix Anime Festival in October 2020, it was revealed that Trese comic artist Kaho Baldissimo and writer Bujet Tanwil serve as showrunners. In 2009, Tanya Yuson was looking for material to adapt for a series or film, and she found Trese, which thank goodness that she did, the graphic novel following a recommendation, and she forwarded it to her producing partner Shanti, and they decided to pitch it as an animated series. And I think we should all be thankful that happened and it got picked up by Netflix. And what's amazing is that it was dubbed in 3 different languages. It was dubbed in Tagalog, English, and Japanese. With most of the cast, besides Japanese, being of Filipino descent, which is absolutely incredible. And I think it's so amazing that they went that route, which they should have, because it is something that is in their culture. It's their folklore. Yeah, someone else want to take it? So I'm not the only one talking.
Yeah, Clarama, did you watch it?
I did watch it, and I read the first 5 issues of book 1, which was really interesting. I thought the comic, I'm just so happy. This just makes me so happy because I feel like it's really hard for us, as a show to find really cool things that are on Netflix, that are on like the mainstream show, that are of underrepresented stories with these really cool hero arcs. And so I'm just so grateful that we get to actually talk about something like that. And then on top of that, it was so good, which I feel like is because of that. And so I'm just really just juiced. So I'm excited to get really into it. But I have some initial thoughts, but I can save it a little bit. But I just want to say off that, amazing show. The right timing, the 30 minutes was really great. It was very respectful of people who have hard to live, hard work-life balance. So I love that. And at the same time, you didn't feel like you needed to watch more. It was the perfect right amount of fun entertainment packed into this 6-episode series. So it doesn't make you feel thirsty for more information. It was just a great storytelling and really great characters and just really fun to watch and something new and different on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Catherine, what do you think about the animation?
The animation, I enjoyed it. I reading the comics and watching the show, reading the comics. I really enjoyed the character designs, especially one of the characters, which I can go later into. And just seeing the mythology and creatures and all this stuff. I'm a big creature fan, so whenever I have a chance to see them on the screen, it's just great. But no, I enjoy the animation. I think the lip sync's a little off, but outside of that, I enjoyed it. And the color palette was pretty cool. It matches. It works really well with the tone of everything. As well as just love the art style from the comics. I love that sketchy, seeing the line work, seeing the anatomy, seeing the characters in action and moving is really great. So
yeah, I really enjoyed the world that was created. I'm a mythology nerd. I feed on this mythology of these fictional characters and creatures and just it's world building that I'm unfamiliar with. And I think we talked about this a little bit briefly in the crosstalk. Usually you get Greek mythology, or even sometimes bare bones, we get a little bit of Egyptian mythology, but I've never heard of, or at least I didn't think I'd heard of Aswang, but I didn't have I didn't have the context. So this was really powerful for me to really do a deep dive into the lore, and then just the beauty of the design of the characters, and even like the creatures and the weapons and the story. They were not afraid to get dark.
Oh,
that is something that I appreciated.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, episode 3 was my favorite. I was not ready for it, but it was so powerful, and just in the way that it was told, you know.
And the main character is a G too. Like, it's like something that you don't normally get to see. Yeah, she's a G. So getting to see someone like that, and like not do it, and like sometimes you see in like an American Western with women superheroes, they are very poised and like polished and like very like the expressionless. Like, yeah, she was, for me, it didn't seem like she was expressionless. It feels like she was serious. Mm-hmm. And like she just really was loved her job.
The
like
weight of what she had to carry.
Yeah.
Like she was carrying her whole family.
Yeah, for sure. And I was gonna say, I just think it's amazing that, I mean, we all grew up in the US, right? We all grew up in the US. Mm-hmm. But like the creativity and that there are these like this folklore that's out there that we know nothing about. And this to me was just like such an eye-opening experience, like with all my Filipino friends and best friends out there, that I was like, wow, like you guys have some history in there that like you know that you can pull from. And it was just incredible to see the worlds, like you guys were saying, that were created, and you know, the hero's journey that was not the typical hero's journey at all.
Yeah. And speaking of that too, like I feel like it's something that I was surprised to feel was like the joy of like hearing these different accents, hearing the Filipino accent. Yes. Like that was really cool, and seeing it with like consistent through every single character, which I feel like sometimes they'll have to throw an American one in just to cater to our demographic. But I love that they didn't do that. I love that they kept it no matter what kind of character it was, whether it was beast or human or whatever. They kept the really strong, good like Filipino accent, and that just made it fun there.
Yeah,
that I was gonna say that like it was all there, but everybody had, and that's how accents work, right? Everybody's kind of has like their unique flavor. How much English did they learn? Like, and it was like evident in each character because each character was so unique. And I think that's incredible.
The twin brothers were my favorite.
Oh yeah,
they were my favorite characters. Every time they called her Bossing, I was like, I'm here for that. I love, and the fact that she was a boss. Yeah, she was a boss. You know what I mean? She earned that title. I was just so excited to go back into that world and find out what's happening next for Alexandra, now that we have like the foundation of her history, and she has a foundation of her history that she didn't even know herself. Did everybody stay to the end?
Yes.
And so, like the tippy top, so the secret scene.
Yeah,
you got it all right. Dang, we did it. We did it.
I'm so excited about that, because to find out that her, you know, spoiler alert. This is a spoiler alert for those of you who did not stay to the after the credits. Go back and watch after the credits. There is a scene where you will find out about the dagger, who is Sanag, based on her sister. And I'm assuming that character that we saw at the very end, staring over the city like Batman, was in fact her sister. And
okay, it was her sister. I wasn't sure.
Hopefully, that's the villain. I think she was released from the knife. I think that the god of war released her from the knife or the dagger when he was holding it. So I'm hoping, I want her to be the villain for next season.
Yeah.
Missed that, but no, I'm just excited to see like more of this, especially since like I think the second volume's not out yet of the comic, but like no, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so about that on the comic, so this is I only read the first 5, so I don't know how far they took it. Maybe in book 2, there's a clear deviation for how much the TV show is in alignment with the comic. By book 5, it seems to go a complete different direction. in the TV show, she fights off with the God of War, which I think is really interesting. I don't remember seeing him. He wasn't in the first 5, but it's very clear like that story arc is completely different. What it did remind me of, though, and I wonder if this, because it was put on Netflix, they needed to put a proven storyline in. It did remind me of Wonder Woman, her having to fight the God of War, Ares, and it had that very similar like plot like play out of him trying to prove to her that she had the potential to join him and become like part of his like evil world, and she decided, because she was very good natured, she's not going to do it, and she defeats him. But it feels like that was almost like a carbon copy of that storyline, which I'm not sure why they did that. So I wanted to read the comics. This is what drove me to. I was like, because I want to know which came first. Did Wonder Woman copy this comic line, or did this comic line adapt that proven plot line from DC, I guess, into Netflix, just to make it more
that's
secure?
That's an excellent question. I would say.
What did you say?
I said Netflix, let us know.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't. So I've read a lot of Wonder Woman comics, and Ares is a character within the comics. I have not read that particular storyline in the comics. So if there is some crossover, it stands to reason that Wonder Woman fighting the God of War may have been poached a little bit from Trese. But if there is some, a correlation.
Yeah. The way that they structure the comics, it's literally case by case. It's like she's a detective, and then every single case is a completely different story. So, but I don't know, like if in book 2, they wrap up all these stories to a larger theme, but, so as a result, it's like I haven't gotten to one where there was this, God or whatever, but there was one that was a spirit that to possess the woman, or no, the spirit that was killing like 6 different other people. Okay, so the comics is obviously going to be darker. So it's it's a couple in the 5th issue, specifically the 5th case. It's a couple who the husband he cheats on his wife with this woman who kind of has a demon possessed person, but you don't know that she's demon possessed, and he decides that he loves his wife, and so he's going to leave the woman. And so the last time they have sex, she gives him the fire of her belly, which is basically like the demon that's possessing her kind of gives her this thing that she gives to him. And so when he goes back to have sex with his wife, it burns her up. And then and so he goes back to this mistress like, what the heck, and she was like, okay, I'll give you your wife back, but you have to get me 6 souls. And so he has to keep having sex with these other women, and he's having sex with 6 of them or whatever. He's on the 6th one, I think, in order to get back his wife. And that's when the main character, what's her name, Trese, okay, comes in, and she's able to she kills the girl. The girl turns into like this huge monster, the mistress that gave him this thing, but after they return the wife, and then so he goes back to his wife. I don't know, it was some weird thing, but then he was
that's very that reminds me of the character, which isn't of Asian descent, I don't remember, but from Lovecraft Country. Did anybody watch Lovecraft?
Nine-Tailed Fox.
Yes, thank you.
That's Korean folklore, which I appreciated Lovecraft for bringing that in, because it's something. Yeah, I'm half Korean. I didn't know that. I mean, we weren't, not like my mom is going to tell me this crazy story.
Exactly. Of the Nine-Tailed Fox. That's kind of what that sounds like a lot.
It's very similar. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of Asian history, there's a lot of crossover and stuff like that for sure.
What is that? What is the Korean tale there? I missed that one in the.
The Nine-Tailed Fox was. She had to. It's very similar.
Take souls.
She had to take souls in order to. In
order to get her soul back, because she was the Nine-Tailed Fox, saved the daughter of a woman, and a woman, prayed to the Nine-Tailed Fox, and the Nine-Tailed Fox took over the body of this woman, but she had to have sex with men and take their souls. I think she needed to have 100 souls.
That was a lot.
Before they would return the soul of her daughter to the body.
Yeah.
Right. And I think she took 99.
Because she fell in love, and like she had her own.
Yeah. I remember that storyline now. Okay, and she fell in love with the 100th guy. And
Right.
then, yeah, I remember.
Glad they added
Okay.
that into the show, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was added in for sure. But like, yeah, it's interesting because it does like you're right, Courtney. It is very similar.
Mhm.
I think that's also the crossover that we're going to see within a lot of film, television, comics, because there are these lores, you know, that people read about and hear about, and then they try and transition them. Because, you know, like the concept of Ares in Wonder Woman, you know, he has a long and deep history with Wonder Woman. He's the one who, you know, there's a whole storyline between Wonder Woman and Nubia, and how Wonder Woman, Ares created Wonder Woman from the clear sand, and then Nubia was created from the brown sand, and then Ares takes Nubia. So Wonder Woman never even knew she had a sister. So there is a whole,
and they were enemies to begin with.
Yeah. And, you know, there's a commingling in terms of like histories and mythologies. So I don't think it's necessarily like, you know, that one pulled from the other, as opposed to it is that like these rich stories just keep being retold in different ways.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I also feel like with like TV and like Netflix and whatnot, they probably had to have like that end boss or that end villain versus which was the comics, which is like, you know,
one-offs.
Yeah. So it's just probably to maybe like sell the show more especially for like maybe more Western audiences.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what I think. I think they adapted that for Western audiences, not necessarily like trying to say like, oh, you shouldn't have copied. Everybody copies each other, right? Especially Wonder Woman. Like that's like that's the whole mission. Everything. It's just interesting that they decided to stick to, they use a Wonder Woman story for this, and like that Nubia thing. Like, you know, they are enemies when they first meet each other. They don't know that they're sisters. They fight each other a lot until finally, eventually, they realize they are sisters, and then they decide to make peace with each other. So now it kind of makes me curious, like, is that same direction? It's not from what I'm seeing in the comics. So it would
be interesting. Yeah, because I feel like in that Wonder Woman, Ares takes Nubia and raises her to hate Wonder Woman. He raises her on the dark side of war. But yes, I did think that. Yeah, you know, like side. There's some really beautiful DC correlations in terms of Trese, because Trese absolutely gave me John Constantine vibes. And did anybody watch the After Dark conversation between the creators? Okay, so there is a brief mention of how the creators were influenced by John Constantine. So that made me happy, because that is initially the vibe that I got. I was like, I feel like she is like such a dope character. It's like a female Constantine, but there's more serious grit attached to Alexandra Trese, as opposed to Constantine, who is, you know, the sardonic character.
Yeah, I read that on like the comic too. They said their influences like DC, Batman, Constantine, and I think several other comics like X-Men and whatnot. I'll have to check out the After Dark clips.
Yeah, same. I just want to give a quick shout out. I actually know a couple people in the cast, the English dub. So just quick shout out to my girl Didi Magno, Sumali Montano, and my boy Lou Diamond Phillips, who a lot of people think he was Hispanic, but he's not.
Oh, shoot. And then, what characters did they play?
Oh, so Didi was the emissary. She also played the newscaster in Vina, but emissary was the liaison between death.
Between she was the lady in the veil.
The veil that was like, you know, talking to.
That's cool.
And the death. Sumali was Ramona, which is awesome. She also played Race Girl. And then Lou Diamond Phillips was Mayor Sacho Santa Maria.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sacho and Sacho. That's interesting. That's like that on IMDb. I think it's fun. Yeah. But yeah. Really cool.
There's another actor that's actually a part of our Geekish network, who is also a voice in the character. His first name is Earl. He is on, is it Pots and Pangeekery? I think that's what he's on. Somebody help me out.
Pots and Pangeekery. Yeah.
I think so.
Pangeekery.
He's on Pangeekery. He's on Pangeekery. I thought he did a guest spot on Pots and Pangeekery. And Pots and Pangeekery. I'm not crazy. Okay. He's on both. But yeah, so we're gonna give a shout out to him. He did Yes.
Hey.
I have a quick question for y'all real quick. Did anybody else get Jar Jar Binks vibes from Nuno? Because that's what I thought.
Was the green little
The green
guy.
sewer.
The sewer.
Yeah, definitely got some like Star Wars creature vibes, like little cute chocolate eating creature.
I know.
Yeah.
He just wanted his chocolate.
Yeah, I love him.
The punk.
Yeah. Like when he says
definitely
Tracy.
Yeah. He definitely reminds me of something, but I just don't remember.
Yeah.
Maybe Jar Jar Binks. I haven't seen Jar Jar Binks in a long time.
I know. All right, ladies, I got to dip out now. I've got family duties, but I am so happy I got to join you all tonight. It's
Yeah.
blast, and I'm so excited that we're talking Trese and all things like Filipino and Asian and Black and everything. It's so awesome.
All of it.
All of it. As we smell what the rock is cooking.
Now I'm just imagining him pulling that gate.
Oh gosh, I can't wait for that.
Find it. Do yourself.
Everyone on Twitch. Whoop whoop. Mwah.
Bye.
Gosh, I can't find my arrow. That was so awkward.
I did have one question in terms of I had a second question, but I'll think of that later. There was in the very pilot, they said you can't kill a ghost. And then in episode 5, they said, well, it's not like you can, or no, they killed a ghost. They killed a ghost in the pilot. In the episode 5, it was, when they tried to kill the geek dude who was running the mall. Like,
yeah.
It's not like you can kill a ghost. And I'm like,
They just
They broke a plot, or they broke one of the rules. What is it called? Gap.
plot hole.
What is it? Pothole.
A plot hole. Yeah. That's my only. I was like, I need y'all to explain.
I'm surprised there's not more of those. Doesn't because like I noticed that with a lot of shows, they always have it's like a different writer for different shows. Usually, I'm wondering how that works. Like, how do they like? Of course, there's gonna be potholes, right? Because I mean, like, there's a lot of details in every show. So, I mean, maybe they're not, maybe I was like, is it like there's 10 writers and then they all write a show together, one takes the lead, and then like it just rotates lead for each show? Or is it like they just bring a whole new clean person in and they have to like get updated on the previous storyline? And then, I don't know.
Yeah, usually, and I've not been in a professional. I have not been a staff writer, but from what I understand from my friends who are, they all read each other's like scripts. They're all part of the initial brainstorming and putting together of the timeline and the story of what's happening. And they should be aware of what is going down in the series, but everybody does their own thing. And then you have a story editor who is like the final set of eyes to go through, and I feel like the story editor or the script coordinator may have overlooked that one line.
Yeah,
but yes. Here's my question for season 2 that I hope gets answered, and I would like to know what if you guys have a question for season 2 or a hope for season 2 and what you want to see. My hope is, now that we know Alexander Trese is the 6th child of the 6th child, we know what happened to Sanag, the 5th child. She died. I want to know where 1 through 4 are. And based on that picture that they showed of them in front of the tree, the family photo, it looked like there were 4 boys, 4 sons. And then you saw 4 sons when the little girls were born. So I want to know where her brothers are. Hopefully we'll find them in season 2. That's
my brain just did not do no types of math for that. In my head, the 6th child, I was like, oh, she's the 6th child. Like, so her dad was probably 4th. And then, I don't know, I think I thought of it in like the lineage of going up. I didn't realize it's all 6 children within one family.
Yeah, because she's the 6th child. She's the 6th child of a 6th child. So her father had 5 siblings, and then she should have 5 siblings. So we know what happened to Sanag, who's the dagger. And we saw the 4 brothers that were there when they brought the 2 little sisters home in the photo or in the memory. So I want to know, where are the 4 brothers?
Yeah, I missed that too. I was so confused with that. So it's good to know that there were 6 children. I don't know. Maybe they're in the tree, because like at the end they had them. I mean, maybe they didn't pass the test in the tree and they got stuck in the tree or underworld.
Oh, the Balete tree, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. So
what was inside that tree? I didn't get that part.
We didn't. They don't tell you because she was gone for like 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So I want to know what happened in that tree.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get that adventure because she said it felt like she was in there 100 years.
Yeah.
Sounds like a life or death. Like if you don't pass it, you die. If you pass it, you survive. So like it was some sort of challenge of some sort. So
yeah, it's interesting. I didn't like hint at that or kind of describe at least kind of what to expect. You just
it's also not in the comics either.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. All right. Y'all have any predictions for or hopes that you'd like to see in season 2?
Now that you said the sister thing at the end, I'm like, maybe she does fight her sister. Because that completely passed my mind. I'm like, oh, it's some cool vampire chick. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I thought, was that her sister? But then because she was like, they had that, I guess this is maybe it's not Chinese, but I think that particular, I think they call it a something, I forgot what the name of it was, but it's supposed to be like a specific thing they do. I think it's Chinese. So it alludes to a certain type of character, a vampire character, and they have like a whole theme of or genre of movies around like this vampire character with this like style of where's the things. And so I'm curious as to like how that I just want to know that story. I just want to know the background of that story. And if it is her sister, I'd love to see that play out, like what that dynamic would look like. I mean, I just feel like that's the beauty of the show. The story's so good. You're like, I don't need to even want to predict it. Like, I don't have, it's like, I'm curious. I would love to know what the next stuff is. Yeah. Like, because it sounds like it could be anything and it could go anywhere else. It could go, there's a lot of different ways it could go that are all good just because you're not used to seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What more episodes? End of like, oh, it's over. But the comics also filled in more backstory as well, which I thought was rich, like more of the lore behind certain characters. And they had little journal notes. I thought that was a nice touch. So
okay. Yeah, I want more of the creature mythologies. I'm really excited to hear more about these things that are histories and mythos that we have never been exposed to before.
Yeah.
I love the Demon Brothers. I say it again, they're my favorites.
I like the horsey.
Oh yes.
The horse was great. That's a good catch. I like the Wind Girls. I think they were great. They were my favorite.
Yes, they were great too.
Yeah.
Like I love, like I'm a big fan as well, like creatures and mythology and whatnot, and it's just cool to get like a completely like something we're not used to, especially in the States. It's always like Norse mythology, which seems to be a theme now, and like Greek and whatnot. But like I love seeing different creatures, different like mythology, lore. It's exciting. It's a detective story with all that too. It's just can't wait. Gonna get a big book on mythology. So
yeah. All right, ladies. Yeah. Well, we have had a fantastic conversation, and shout out to Netflix for bringing in Trese.
Hey,
good, thank you. Good find. We needed it.
I didn't know if I could do it anymore.
We needed to be able to follow somebody who looks it's different. There's such a rich community of people and stories that thank you so much for at least opening the floodgates. Hopefully there's more to follow.
Oh yeah.
I'm actually surprised by not how many people know about it though, because when I put out my stories, a lot of people are like, "What is this?" And I was like, "What word?" And I was maybe because I'm like in this bubble of of Geeky Network, so that's where I'm learning all this stuff. But I'm actually surprised that it's not like #1 recommended on Netflix or something.
Yeah, hopefully we can change that.
Yeah.
You guys out in the chat, help us.
It was such a good story. It was such a good storyline.
There are a few people on my Facebook that read the comics. I was kind of like,
okay.
Cool, so.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
All right. Yeah. Well, that concludes our show for today. Thank you for tuning in. Shout out to Digital Click for all your creativity and everything you provide. Please follow us here on Twitch. And if you love what we're doing, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you have Amazon Prime, you can link your account and subscribe to us using Prime Gaming. It costs you nothing, but it helps us out tremendously. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of your night, people.
Good night.
Good night. Thanks for joining.